What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so I gotta make a clarification. In my last video, I made a mistake. I said that I accused Jay Williams of making that comment about Giannis with the Pippen and Jordan thing, and I was wrong. For some reason, when I saw that picture on TV, and I saw that picture and the tweet. For some reason, I registered it as being Jay Williams. I don't know. I mean, I just didn't get a look at the picture, but it was Richard Jefferson. All right. So I apologize to Jay Williams. You didn't say that dumb shit, but you're still a LeBron fanboy, so you'll say something stupid eventually. But Richard Jefferson. All right. So you said that. Pretty much what you said was that you're convinced that Giannis is a Pippen who needs his Jordan. All right. Now you try to clean it up today and say, "Oh, I wasn't saying that. What I meant is that he's a Pippen who needs a Jordan-like guy who's a closer." Look, stop minimizing Jordan. Okay, Jordan was not just a closer. Okay, Jordan was the greatest player in NBA history by the majority of people's accounts. Okay. You know his status. So what you're saying to me, honestly, the way I look at it, is that you're trying to say he need to join LeBron. Everybody knows that you're a LeBron nut hugger. You were on that podcast with him when you cursed, and he said, don't worry about it. ESPN never fired you. You're my friend. Okay? Everybody knows the power this guy has. Okay? So everybody knows what you're really saying. And you guys are predictable anyway, man. All you LeBron fanboys, you're all predictable. You know what I'm saying? Predictable as shit. You waiting for Giannis to, have a moment of failure, and you pounce and gloat and smile with glee. You know what I'm saying? Richard Jefferson, the only reason you got that job with ESPN because you passed the test that most of those guys passed. You know what I'm saying? They told you to blow your breath. They smelt your breath. They smelt LeBron's pubes, and you passed the test. And honestly, if you're saying he just needs a closer, a guy that can close games out, why do you say he needs a Kobe to his Shaq or a Magic to his Kareem? You're downplaying him by comparing him to Pippen. You know what I'm saying? And that's not a knock on Scottie Pippen, but Pippen is a top 50 player, but he's not top 20. He's not top 25 in most people's eyes. I don't have him as top 30. So you're downplaying him. You know what you meant when you did that shit, man. And this is the reality. This is a league that is no longer dominated by big men, right? We all know that. This is a perimeter-orientated league, okay? So for Giannis to do what he does in this era is scary, okay? Imagine if he was playing 20 years ago. Imagine him playing 20 years ago, 25 years ago, when this was still more of a big man's league. Secondly, it's much easier because the big man doesn't have the ball in his hands all the time. It's much easier to stop a big man, a center. That's why guys like even the great Wilt Chamberlain could struggle without help. That's why when he was with the Warriors, when he only had an old ass, as I've said it before in videos, that's why during the regular season, yes, Wilt could average 50 points. 45 points. But that's why in the playoffs, when he only had on his team Tom Gola, and I'm not downplaying these guys. These are fine players. But when you look at who the Celtics had, all he had was Guy Rodgers and Tom Gola and an old Paul Arizin, whose best days were in the 50s. That's why when he was playing on those teams, he struggled in the playoffs. Because it's just easier to keep the ball out of the hands of a center or a big man. It's easier to kind of shut down a big man. A perimeter guy always has the ball in his hands. He's bringing the ball up. That's why it's harder to stop a Kobe and a Jordan in the playoffs. That's why, in theory, you would think it'd be hard to stop James Harden, but Harden's a choke job who really don't have a lot of different moves. You know what I'm saying? But when you look at the history of the big man, you look at George Mikan. Okay, George Mikan, like I said before, he had Slater Martin in the backcourt. You know what I'm saying? He had Jim Pollard. He had Vern Mickelson, the second best big man in the game at that time before Bob Pettit. You know what I'm saying? You look at Bill Russell, look at the team he had. All of these centers, they had to have help. All of them. All of these big men. Okay? All of them. Bill Russell had Bob Cousy and Bill Sharman and Sam Jones and later on John Havlicek. You know, and others. You know what I'm saying? Kareem, he didn't win anything, Kareem, until he had Oscar Robertson and then Magic Johnson. Even Akeem Olajuwon, he had to have a core group. Like, yeah, he didn't have another superstar per se, but he did have the Kenny Smiths. He did have Vernon Maxwell. He did have Otis Thorpe. You know what I'm saying? He did have a potent scorer, outside shooter in Tracy Murray. He did later on have to, when they were struggling, he had Clyde Drexler, Robert Horry. So stop acting like he didn't have help. Giannis doesn't have anybody anywhere near the vicinity of a Clyde Drexler or Robert Horry on his team. Guys that can knock down shots in critical situations. He doesn't. Shaq had to have Kobe. Shaq always had help. Even Dirk Nowitzki, who people bring up all the time. Dirk had, some fine core guys on that team. You know what I'm saying? He had Jason Terry on that team. He had Jason Kidd. Yeah, Jason Kidd was older, but he still was a very high IQ basketball player. He had Peja Stojakovic coming off that team. He had Deshaun Stevenson. He had some talent around him. You got to have some talent, veteran core leadership around you, and Giannis does not have that. His best fucking player is Chris Middleton, who can't create his own shot and who chokes in pressure situations. You got a whole defense that's geared against stopping one fucking guy, and that's Giannis. And yes, Giannis needs to stop forcing the issue sometimes, but sometimes, he's kind of compelled to. So it's like, look, I get it. You know what I'm saying? The pressure's on Giannis to win a championship. But you know what? At the end of the day, I notice hypocrisy. I never noticed the same push for Steve Nash to win a title. Think about it. Steve Nash was given 2 league MVPs. I don't even really hear people complaining about it like you hear about Giannis. You know what I'm saying? Like I've said, I thought Kobe should have won MVP in 2006. You can make a case Dirk should have won it. LeBron should have won it. Hell, maybe even Tim Duncan. Right? But I didn't hear all this argument back then. They gave it to Steve Nash. But I never heard all this. I mean, look, Steve Nash has won 2 league MVPs, but look, he has to win a championship. I didn't hear that. But it's like Giannis going to get his throat slit if he don't win a title. Then if he he's pressured by the media to go to L.A. or Golden State, which seems to be the pick. Then, he ran. We give him all this pressure, then he runs. Well, it doesn't count. He had to go to a super team. And he get all the credit to Curry and Clay. Man, fuck all that shit, man. I'm just sick of these dudes, man. These Richard Jeffersons, these dudes, I'm just so sick of these dudes, man. Bunch of cheerleaders. Predictable cheerleaders, man. You know what I'm saying? Where was all this? I don't know. I'm not even going to all this shit, man. But yeah, the Bucks are in trouble, like I said, and they're being exposed. But it's more than just Giannis. You got to blame Mike Budenholzer. You got to blame the system to an extent. You can't just put it all on Giannis. But, you know, I just say it like this, man. You know what I'm saying? Giannis does need to work on some parts of his game. But he is what he is. And like I said, you know what I'm saying? He's dominated and has gotten to where he is using the gifts he was given. And people are trying to turn him into something else. I don't understand it for the life of me. Joel Embiid gets criticized for shooting the three too much. Right? Giannis does the complete opposite and gets criticized because they want him to be Joel Embiid. I mean, I don't know, man. People, I don't get it, man. But tell me what you guys think.